So after launching Adobe Premiere Pro, you create new project to basically create a project. And then here you could decide what name it should be. So let me just say first class basics. And then after deciding on a project, then you click on create. But if you want to import some medias already, I mean some files like videos, photos, or audio, you could just select in here. Now, this is for the 2023 interface. So I hope all of you have the 2023, and then we could click on create. So if you've already done that, then can I just see, can you send a screenshot on our Zoom chat? I think you can do that right now. So I just want to check if you guys are already where I'm at.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, perfect. So let's first talk about how to create a sequence. Okay, let's first create a sequence before we could talk about these 4 sections. Now, the concept of sequences in video editing, the importance of sequences is that it provides the structure and control. Without sequences, your video clips would be scattered randomly. So sequences give you the ability to organize and arrange your clips in a logical order. Now, when we create a sequence, this part here on the timeline, it will give us that editing space. So basically we import the clips here on the project panel, and then we create a sequence for us to work on here in the timeline. And then if we have some clips we would like to preview, we can look at it here on the source monitor. Yeah, it's basically right here. And then if we're going to preview on what we're editing here on the timeline, then we can look at it here on the project monitor. So basically this is project panel, project monitor, the timeline, and then the source monitor. Okay. Now to create a sequence, you click on file and then on new and then sequence. Now notice you can also press Control N for a shortcut to creating a new sequence. So let's click on that now. Now, when creating a sequence, make sure that the clips or the media file that we're going to be using, we understand the editing mode and its specs, the specs of the video, and then we make sure that we choose a similar or a matching editing mode or a matching sequence settings here. For the sake of example, let's just use that. Then maybe create a sequence name basics. Okay, right now you should have your own sequence. Now, when you have created a sequence, it will automatically give you this workspace on the timeline. And then the name of the sequence is placed right here. Now, if you have multiple sequences, it will just stack up here, yeah, in a queue where you could like click on it if you have like multiple sequences that you've opened. If you already have a sequence, the next thing you can do is to import a file. Now, how to import a file? You could either double click on here, then it will open this window where you could browse and look at where the videos are. You could do that, or you could also do file, import, and it gives you the same thing. Or another one is you could just open an external window, and then on the external folder that you have, you could just go ahead and try and go into the folder that you have. Then you just drag and drop there in the project panel. And the project panel, you are able to import that. So basically that is the 3 ways where you could import a video. Or here's another one. You could also drag and drop the clip directly to here on the timeline or on your sequence. Now notice when you try to import a clip or anything, it will give you this warning. It says clip mismatch warning. Now if you want to use the same settings that is used by your clip, then you could click on here, change sequence settings. Like for example, let's say for example you have a clip a 4K clip and that was shot in a Sony video camera, then if you want to use that settings, you could just click on change sequence settings, and then the sequence that you have will match the kind of sequence with your clip. But if you want to keep the settings or the sequence settings of your sequence, then you can just click keep existing settings. Now I would like to click on this. So what it will give you is your clip is imported right there on your timeline. Now here's another thing you could do if you would like to work on the settings of your clip. Right here, when you have already imported your clip here on the project panel, this is what it's called. You could just drag it directly to the timeline, and then it will create a matching sequence with its correct sequence settings. So basically, whatever the clip settings is, when you try to put it on the timeline, it will create a sequence that is named after this clip. And then the settings of this clip will match on the settings of the sequence. So basically, if you have like a clip that you've already shot and then you want to use its sequence, you can just go ahead and drag it there on the timeline. Now, things to remember, make sure that you remember this. This is called timeline. This is called project panel. This is called project monitor. This is called source monitor. Now, if you want to have a preview, let's say you want to play this video, you can just double click it, and then it will give you a preview here on the source monitor. You can go ahead and play it right there. Yeah, you just want a preview. Oh, okay, what kind of video is this? What kind of video is that? Or you could even just hover your cursor there on that thumbnail, then it will give you a preview, a real-time preview of what it's about. So it is shown here on the source monitor. Now, if you put it on the timeline, so whatever you're working on, like you're compositing or doing some edits here on the timeline, you can preview it here on the program monitor. So the program monitor, it lets you get a live preview of the timeline that you're working on. Okay, I know this is the basics, so I hope that you get the idea. Let's head over to okay, let me just ask, Ma'am Shelo, could you give us an overview of these 4 sections? So just I would know that you already understand. So what's the purpose of this one? What's it called and what's the purpose?
For the source monitor, if you want to view or know the content of the video, you may enter or you may click the video, then the video would show in the source monitor. And for the timeline, it is where you edit the video. And for the project panel, it is where you import videos. And for the project monitor, in here, it shows the overall output of the video from the timeline.
Yes, perfect. Now, one of the things that is different from other video editing softwares, or I mean in Premiere Pro, is that you can create as many sequences that you want. So you have like timeline, workspace for many sequences, but at the same time, you can just arrange them or stack them over here. You could edit different timelines by creating as much sequences that you need. Not like other video editing softwares that it only provides you one. In one project, it only gives you one sequence. When you have a project, then you have a one working space. You have to probably export the whole video in order to reuse it in another project. But here, you can just create as many sequences as you can, and then you can even work on those sequences for compositing, and then you get to just export one time. So you don't have to keep on exporting. You can just export one time, but you can create as many sequences as you need. So that's one of the things that Premiere Pro is better compared to other video editing softwares. Now, let's move on. We now get the idea of importing and then previewing and then creating sequences, right? Yes, give me a thumbs up if you already get that.